AITA, for refusing to meet with my half-sister because I don't deserve that honor. The author of the post is listed in the description. I, 24F, am an affair baby. My father, 75M, had me with my mother, 60F, while still being married to someone else, then divorced with his first wife when I was 4, and married my mom 2 years later. Because of the age gap and the general mess of the situation, I never truly had any relationships with my father's side of the family. For them, I was just an unexpected person to exist, which I am totally okay with, since I have a great loving family on my mother's side anyway. So since my birth, we have settled this lovely mutual agreement, where they pretend I don't exist and I forget that my father is not an orphan. Lovely. The only person who decided to break this mutual indifference pact was my half-sister, 55F. I probably also need to mention that my father was somewhat wealthy when he started dating my mother. He had already provided well for his eldest daughter, paid for her education, helped her to get a decent job in a law firm, and bought her a large apartment. So my sister was extremely unhappy with my birth, since for her it meant that some of my dad's money will now flow the other direction. Not my petty words, BTW, she said that to my mother. And not only that, according to my mother's words, confirmed by my father and grandparents, she had been harassing my mom throughout her entire, very complicated pregnancy, to the extent that my mother ended up in a hospital. My sister then found a way to call her even there and wished she had a miscarriage. The last time when she and my mother met, she said, "I am worthless and don't deserve the honor of being called her sister, and she would rather give everything up to charity than let me inherit something from her." She was single and childless then and still is now. As from my own memories, I have seen her probably only 3-4 times as a kid and got a few presents from her as a teenager, some her hideous old clothes she didn't want to wear anymore. She decided it would be hilarious to just send it to my mother in a garbage bag, so I donated it to charity upon her forgotten wishes. The funny thing is that even though my mother was accused of gold digging, my father had an accident and retired soon after their marriage, so she was the one who provided for me and gave me the future. Now I live in another country with my soon-to-be husband, studying and all in all doing okay. I was supposed to visit my family next week when my father unexpectedly called me. He never does that. Upon a very awkward conversation, I received this information. 1. Even though agreeing to cut contacts, my father began talking with his eldest daughter a few years ago. 2. He systematically updated her on my life. 3. Since she learned I am doing okay and am soon to start my own family, she suddenly expressed desire to meet me. She has no family on her own, and that somehow made her value our sister bond more. I kindly rejected that offer and said I would rather not. Then followed 20 minutes of a pointless conversation with such arguments as, "I am becoming older and want my children to reconcile. She was young and stupid, now she regrets," etc., etc. When I reminded him that she basically harassed my mother and wished me dead, he called me out for being vengeful towards my sis and said he taught me better. I then said that I don't think I deserve the honor of meeting her and don't seek to earn that honor, and he hung up on me. I know my father is an old man who doesn't want any drama. However, my mother is the sweetest person alive, and a mere thought that someone in a right mind could harass her to the point she was at hospital makes me sick. I don't have any interest in this sister bonding BS, and I don't care what she has to say. So AITA, for not even giving her a chance to speak with me. Additional information from OOP. Comment: You are more supportive than I expected, guys, so thanks, guys. Just wanted to quickly address the infidelity part before going to sleep. I live in Europe and it's past midnight. I noticed some people were concerned about my lack of judgment when it comes to my mom being a mistress and breaking up the family. I personally would rather not go into deep details about who, with whom, and why, since it is the info I am not comfortable sharing with all the Reddit. However, I would say the thing that is relevant to my post and my sis. My mom is not an angel, but she is not a homewrecker either because the home already didn't exist when she and my father met. He wasn't loyal before that. His family knew. I don't know their exact emotions on that, but he wasn't loyal for years before my mother, and he and his wife still lived together. Even when he met my mom, they knew about her and showed no animosity towards her, even the sis. They met a few times and sis was indifferent. My mother getting pregnant was the reason the shit show started. That is the reason why, regardless of my mom's actions, I am so not okay with the harassing part from sis. She wanted abortion so dad would not waste his money on another child, then wanted me dead. As for the no contact request from mom part I mentioned in comments, guys, if you read please what I write, my mother said don't let her come near me or my baby, after almost losing her unborn child due to endless harassment. My so-called sister wished me dead, multiple times. She stopped only when my father agreed to leave all his savings to his old family. I know that because other people around me shared that info when I became older, not only my mother. She doesn't talk about any of my father's relatives at all if she is not asked to. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA sounds like she wants to reach out for selfish reasons and wants you to just roll over and pretend she hasn't hated you your entire life. Even though her anger is misdirected, you seem to understand why people might scapegoat you as the living embodiment of the death of their family. But harassing someone into the hospital and then finding a way to continue that in the hospital is a bridge too far. I'm not a strong math guy, but if you're 24 and she's 55, then she was 31 when she did this to your mother. She wasn't some middle schooler, she was an adult over 30. Young and stupid indeed. Oop, indeed. The young and stupid part cracked me up as well. Yep, she is not much younger than my mother. They even share the same name. And I think it may be one of the many reasons why mom decided to keep her own surname, LOL. Commenter. NTA. She gets to have feelings about her dad cheating on her mom. If it had been me, I would have raised hell. But she crossed the line when she actively took it out on a pregnant woman and became vengeful towards you. Your dad was in the wrong for ever agreeing to cut himself off from his child for the sake of someone else. Let's be clear about that. You and your mom never ever needed to have contact with her, but he is still her parent. It was on him to create healthy boundaries for everyone in this situation, and he failed. Oop. To be honest, I wouldn't care if he talks with her or not if it wasn't for my mom. She insisted on cutting her off after my birth, or to be precise, make sure I never see her around me or my daughter because I will call the police. The boundaries is something my dad was never strong in. He tends to avoid conflicts at all costs. He is constantly trying to force people to be okay with each other and be forgiving. So if my mother wouldn't do this us of them fit, I am 100% sure he would constantly try to make sis and my mother reconcile, invite her to dinners in our home, etc. This inability to leave things as it is was the reason my mother was harassed in the first place. I love him, but man can't understand why his daughter wouldn't be besties with his mistress and got it only after she called mom at the hospital. Update. Hey guys, just came home and looked through your answers. Jesus, I did not expect that many. And oh boy, some are very interesting. I actually have a tiny update, but first let me answer some of you guys. At first, those who addressed the issue I was asking about, me and my sis being total strangers with her resenting me even before my birth and suddenly wanting to meet, thank you for your feedback. You are the most appreciated of all. I'm not that good at dealing with someone trying to do the speed run to my personal space, so I really wanted to know if I'm overreacting. Sometimes it's hard to judge, especially because I don't actually know sis apart from her being a huge fan of my being born. As far as I know, not the most pleasant person to be around, but have zero desire to test this personally. As for my mother's infidelity, many people were not happy with the sweetest person part and even less with my further explaining, which I find absolutely understandable. Many of you were polite and respectful in your argumentation, so thank you for that. Actually, upon reading my own answers the next day without context, I can see why so many people were confident that I'm trying to do black and white here. I don't actually think it is necessary to have a huge discussion, since it is not the main point of my post anyway. But for those who were respectful to me, I wanted to make my only and last point here. My position on that matter is not that cheating is totally okay, since it is my mom who did the nasty and/or she wasn't the first mistress to my father. Can get a little defensive on that, I know. But don't blame me. Blame the flashbacks from my childhood when I constantly heard all the things you wrote from my father's friends, XD, sorry, kidding, but not really. My position is that I have decided to refrain from judging my mother on that. In other words, not approving like, "Hey, my pops is a cheater anyway, so it is totally okay to sleep with him then." It is rather, "I don't think it is my place to shame my mother. She made a decision and faced the consequences. I leave that to her, and I won't let this impact our relationship." That's it. You may not agree with my point of view, and it's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I'm entitled to my own perspective also. And the perspective is, I saw only kindness and love from her. This is my way of showing love and kindness back. Please be respectful. For those who actually insulted my mother or me by calling names and wishing me being cheated on to get the feeling, I hope people you love never make any mistakes. Oh boy, you would let them know they are not worthy of anything anymore. Now to the actual update. Actually, not that much to update about. My father had a brilliant idea of asking my mother to persuade me, and now it's a huge shit show. My mother crying on Skype and asking me if meeting my sister is something I truly want. Me explaining that I don't give a flying F about her. My father screaming on my mother that it is her upbringing. Fun. Oh, he also said he had given her my number so we could settle things as adults. So now I am even more irritated. Due to some issues with my residence renewal, I often have to pick up from unknown numbers. Have to give attention to the country code before picking from now on. The first Skype call was a disaster. Then when my father went outside to smoke, my mom called me again, and I asked her about no contact thing. Mom explained that she was indeed against my sister being anywhere near me, because she was scared of her hating me so much and couldn't trust her. However, she said she never actually forbade my father talking to her. She just wanted it to be away from our house and our lives. And that he tried for some time when I was a kid to see her occasionally, but then the car accident happened and Sis never ever called him or visited him in the hospital. This made him so frustrated that he went full no-contact mode himself. I then asked her, does she have any idea of what Sis could possibly want from me, but she had no clue. So that's what it is now. If some drama happens, I will update, but I probably would not go to every single new thing as the new post mode. I have a life to live and a wedding to plan. Just maybe we'll give some closure in case there would be one. Thanks for wasting your time reading this and have a nice life. Top comments. Commenter. Personally, just tell her to text you, be short and don't engage. She can't meet you, you don't have a bond, so just be straight with her. You never liked me, wished me harm, and could never have my best interest at heart. What do you want now? Short, sweet, to the point. Good luck. Commenter. It sounds like your father is experiencing some late-life guilt about his choices and feels making happy family will absolve him. It's not your job to fix this for him, and if you don't see yourself getting anything out of meeting her, don't. Maybe suggest if she gasps something to say, she can write you a letter. Okay, next story. AITA, for refusing to respond to my sister, I am 24, recently did a DNA and ancestry test. I won't name the brand because I don't want this to seem like an ad. I was adopted by my parents when I was 7 years old. I don't really remember much, if anything, of my life prior to being adopted. But I know that I was neglected, to say the least. Just to put that context out there. I've never really had intentions of meeting my biological family. I've always thought they obviously didn't care about me, so why should I waste time caring for them? When I did the DNA test, I knew it was a chance that I would be matched with a close genetic relation. But I never had any intention of messaging with any of them, even though my parents have been supportive of me finding a connection to my bio family. Anyway, the DNA test came back a few days ago, and I matched with someone who apparently is my biological half-sister. She sent me a long message explaining that she's been searching for me for a while and she would love to speak and help me build a picture of my biological family. She said that she lived with me and my dad, her stepdad, and our mom when I was young. She was 7 years older than me, and when I was removed into foster care, she moved in with her dad. I read the message, but I haven't responded. And in all honesty, I don't plan to. It's nice that I know someone's out there who cares for me, but I still don't want anything to do with my bio family. My brother, also adopted, Oliver, says that I am being selfish by not responding. He says I should think about what my sister might be thinking, but I don't think he understands since he hasn't always kept a link to his bio family. We ended up getting into a huge, stupid argument over it. And he says that if I wasn't going to respond, I shouldn't have even done the test because now it just gives my sister false hope. I told him he didn't understand what I was going through because he never lost connection with his biofam, and he said I'm an idiot for thinking that. We were both probably equally rude. I'm not trying to paint him as a bad person. We had a dumb fight. So AITA for refusing to respond to my sister? Relevant comments. Top commenter, NTA. Your feelings about your family connections are exactly that, yours. If you are not ready to be in contact with your half-sister, that's fine. Maybe you will someday, but it's ultimately your choice. Your brother has no business pushing you. Oop, thanks. I genuinely think my brother doesn't understand how stressful it is because he has always had that link to his bio family. Commenter, nah, but I don't know why you'd make your info publicly available if you weren't planning to respond to anyone. Oop, pretty sure the one I used said I couldn't see my matches unless I was public. I guess I was curious as to if I had any matches. That were close. My other sibling did one, and the closest he had was a third cousin, so in all honesty, it was a mixture of I was curious and not expecting anyone to be closely related to me. Commenter, NTA, and you don't have to respond. From my understanding, you're a bit indifferent or unbothered by the news. If you think you can manage your emotions, no problem, then acknowledging the message, explaining your stance, and wishing her well could provide her a lot of peace with minimal effort on your part. If it is emotional to reply, sending a message to provide her some closure would be a kind and selfless act. She might not have found a good family like you did. Oop. Well, I never knew I had any biological siblings. In fact, I thought I didn't. In some ways, I don't want any ties to my biological family. Because they gave me up, I had a mother who wouldn't protect me from my father. I ended up in a loving family, with parents who care for me and siblings who I know and care for. In some ways, I want to entirely leave any ties to my biological family behind. I don't feel any ties to them, and I don't think I want to. I get that it could be difficult for her, but IDK, messaging feels like I am reinforcing a connection that I don't even want to exist. Commenter. Info. Did your bio sister mistreat you? If not, I don't know why you can't just be nice to her. Oop. I don't remember my sister at all. I was around 5, 6 when I was removed into care. It's not that I'm not being kind to her, it's that messaging her will bring back up a lot of trauma and bad thoughts for me. I get that it might be nice for her on her end, but if it's going to make me feel awful and depressed for days, weeks, I just don't want to put myself through that. I know that was kind of my own fault for signing up for the app in the first place, but I don't know, part of me didn't expect anyone closely related to me to be on there, and part of me wanted to see matches from afar. The following commenters are upvoted while OOP is downvoted. Commenter, and she has a right to know that he wants no further communication. Oop. Why? Why does she have a right to make me do something I'm uncomfortable with to make her feel better? Commenter, why? Because you are a tulip. You entered your details into a genealogy site. If your half-sister got through to you another way, fair enough, you don't owe her anything. But you did enter your details, you got matched. You do owe your half-sister even an acknowledgement of not wanting further communication. Oop. Honestly, I accept your POV that you think I do, but I genuinely don't think I owe it her. I know that messaging with her is going to bring back up a lot of trauma for me, even briefly, so I don't think I owe it to her to make myself uncomfortable to make her comfortable, if you get what I mean. Downvoted. Commenter. Why? Because you are supposedly an adult and can use your big boy words to tell her you don't want any contact with her. To just ghost her after she mess-G'd you and expressed concern for you is childish and selfish. You don't have to have a relationship, but common decency should apply. You're a massive asshole. OOP, upvoted. In some ways, I can understand your POV, but in other ways, I know that even sending a message to her will bring back a lot of trauma and bad thoughts to me, which at this point in my life, I'm not sure I'm ready to deal with. Probably signing up for the DNA app was a mistake, as it has made me very anxious since, and I've been having nightmares where I'm being hurt by my current parents, which I suppose are in place of my bio parents, since I can't even really remember them. I'm honestly afraid that speaking to her, even briefly, will bring back a lot more, as well as bringing back a link to a family that I don't want or even want to acknowledge, if that makes sense. But you seem to be getting weirdly worked up about this. There's no need to be rude to me. I haven't been rude to you or anyone else. On why UOP took the test if he didn't want connections. I don't want a connection, I wanted to know my heritage. Plus, I liked seeing the facts like I have one of the genetic factors for cystic fibrosis. On Oliver. With Oliver, I don't know, we were both rude to each other. We bicker a lot, I think, like most siblings, but we love each other a lot also. He just is sometimes blind to the feelings of those around him and hyper-aware of the feelings of people he doesn't even know. It's some form of trauma response, I'm sure. Update. Thank you all for sharing your points of view. I read almost all of the comments and appreciate all the advice and kind words most people sent out. I decided in the end to take the advice of most of you and send a message to my sister, which said, "Hello, name. Thank you for reaching out, and I appreciate you sharing that you have been searching for me. As you know, I was taken into foster care at age 5, which I don't remember much of. I was adopted by my mom and dad when I was 7 years old into a loving family. I have been cared for greatly by them and love them with all my heart. I have been to Name University and have graduated with a first-class honors degree in education and am currently working as a teacher. Although I appreciate you reaching out, I am not currently looking for any connection to my biological relatives at this time. I just wanted to send this message to let you know I am well and have had a happy life being part of my new family. Best of wishes, Name." I think that message is all right and makes it clear I am not looking for any connection. She has read the message but has not responded, although I don't expect her to. Thank you all again for your advice and help with dealing with this stressful situation. Relevant comments. Later that day. Yeah, she literally just sent me a really nice message back, so I'm glad that I provided closure for her. Even though finding out I have a bio sister has been stressful and something I never expected. In some ways, it's been nice finding out. What exactly did she say? If you don't mind sharing. I don't mind, but I'm going to rewrite it and take out some personal information. But the gist is the exact same. Hope that's okay. Hello, my name. It is so great to hear from you, and I am so pleased to hear how well you've gotten on. I completely understand and respect your decision about contacting biological family. I also went to Name University, but I imagine a few years before you did. It makes me so happy to know you've found an amazing family who is able to love you in the way that you deserve to be loved. I just wish I was able to be part of that life also. I got married last year and have a 2-year-old son named Name. I hope one day you will feel open to meeting him. Although he's young, I've told him about you and how we used to play peanut butter dog. Do you even remember that? Sending all my love? I have no clue what peanut butter dog is or what that means, so don't ask me, LOL. Did you make up with your brother? Yeah, we argue a lot, but we never stay mad. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.